Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd. I am a nutrition entrepreneur, but here's the catch. I have a full-time traditional dietitian job. My entrepreneurial endeavors are my side hustle. I have been making six figures through my job and side hustle, doing things that I love. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 21st episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, diving into direct sales. Today I will be interviewing Katie Goldberg. Katie works in direct sales for Epicure, a mealtime solutions company. They feature time-saving cookware, spices, meal starters, etc. She's here today to share her insights on opportunities for dietitians to dive into direct sales. Welcome, Katie. Would you like to share a few words before we get started?
Hi, Katie. No, thank you. I just really want to say thanks for having me, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. So first question, could you tell us more about how you got started in direct sales and why you think this is a great side hustle opportunity for dietitians?
Sure. So just a little bit about my background. My career has been anything but linear, let's just say. I've had my share of experiences and skill building opportunities, and I think that really makes me a more interesting dietitian, and I'm able to really think differently from many of my colleagues and think a little bit outside the box on how to do things. So I am a second career dietitian. I have a background in nonprofit management, fundraising, communications, event planning, leadership development. And then since becoming a dietitian, I have done pretty much everything. I've worked inpatient and outpatient in a clinical setting. I taught at a community college. I had a very short stint at WIC. I was the director of marketing and sort of the in-house dietitian at a food startup company, which was really fun, but quick. And then spent time at a PR agency. So I worked in nutrition communications there. So like I said, a lot of different experiences. And in addition to all of that, I've had a private practice, which has basically been a side hustle since I passed the exam. So I really started that right away. And I've tried on a few different niches over the years and currently help pregnant and postpartum women confidently nourish themselves and their baby. So a lot of that is built out of my own experience. So after I had my first child, I was working at the PR agency and really found myself being pulled between my job and motherhood. And I loved both of them, but they really felt incompatible with each other at the time. It might have been postpartum hormones, I don't know, but it just all felt too much. And so I started thinking about other ways to make money. I actually have a friend who talks about income producing activities, or IPAs. So not a beer, but I was looking for a new IPA in my life. And one of the things that I was constantly hearing from clients in my private practice was that they needed new recipe ideas and they wanted something fast and easy, right? Especially in that early motherhood time of life. I love to cook, but I am more of an experimenter than a recipe developer. And I wanted something that I could share with clients that would really be an ongoing resource, not just here's something I made one time that was good. And so I heard about Epicure really through another dietitian, and it seemed like a really great option for me. Now, as I say that, I want to be really clear because I was actually only cautiously open to the idea of direct sales. I'd had a really negative experience with another company in the past. And, I've had some frustrating conversations with friends over the years who have tried to recruit me, and I think most of us have had that experience, right? That's left a bad taste in our mouth for direct sales. And for most people, I've seen that means that they just write off the concept of direct sales altogether. And I was thinking about this and I was like, well, we don't use this logic in other areas of our life. And gosh, if our patients do that, we get so frustrated, right? So say you have a patient and, the only vegetable they ate growing up was like canned peas or something. And now they refuse to eat anything green. And, we remind them gently that there are other options out there. Green peas are not the only vegetable. And, we've all maybe had a negative experience with doctors, whether that was professionally or personally, but we don't write off all doctors in that situation. So anyway, one of the things that I've been practicing as I've gotten older is to be much more clear about my yeses and my nos, while at the same time trying to be open to new things. It gets really easy to kind of get into a rut. The older you get, not that I'm so old, but old enough to find some nice ruts in my life. And so I tried to stay open. So really, the more I learned about Epicure, the more interested I became in the idea. And it was really the specific company and products that sold me. And it just happened to be in the form of direct sales.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, first off, I love IPA, the income producing activities. I am all about finding more IPAs in my life. And
Exactly.
I really liked how what you did was you listened to your patients and you listened to what their needs were. And I think one thing I always like to emphasize is that we can't be everything to everyone. But if we can find something, whether it's direct sales or something else that can help add value and benefit to our ideal client, then gosh, that is amazing. And if it can be an IPA, even better.
Exactly.
So that's great. So what are some common direct sale opportunities that you see for dietitians? And also, are there any red flags for dietitians that dietitians should be looking out for as they go into direct sales?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. First of all, there are tons of opportunities. I even was like looking up a few just to make sure I was covering all my bases. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many. So, maybe the more obvious ones are kind of in that food or kitchen space. So obviously Epicure, but something like a Tupperware or a Pampered Chef that kind of fits along with helping people get food on the table. I see a lot of people interested in more of that, like fitness, clothing, athletic wear, like a Zaya or LuLaRoe, or even the Beachbody, which kind of gets into the supplements, which is another common area, I think, for dietitians, like a Juice Plus and Herbalife, Isogenics. Those are some of the common ones I've heard about. I also know some dietitians who are more in the like cosmetics or natural space, like reducing environmental toxins with something like a cleaning product like Norwax or Beauty Counter, which kind of straddles that cosmetics and natural space. And then, of course, everyone's favorite right now, the essential oils, right? Our Young Living and doTERRA. So anyway, so there's so many options. And I think with all those opportunities, it's important to have a discerning eye. So, some things that I would suggest asking yourself, like, do I want to incorporate this into my private practice? Or, if you've got a 9 to 5, incorporate it that way? Or do I want it to be something totally separate? I've heard you say like side hustle should be fun, right? So you just want it to be like something fun you do. That's cool too. It doesn't have to be part of you as a dietitian. Yeah. Do you want it to really be a business or just for fun? What kind of upfront costs are there? What do those upfront costs get you? Are there ongoing costs like maintenance fees, annual fees? Do you need to have inventory on hand? Are there sales quotas? And then just kind of understanding like, what is the commission structure? Do I get a discount on things I buy, or do I make commission on them? Or, kind of what does that look like? And those can sort of help you start to narrow down and avoid the red flags. But the big dietitian are to think about like, okay, is there science or are there claims that this product is making? And if so, do they really stand up to scrutiny, right? Can you as a dietitian with, the ethics that we have for our profession, can you put your name on it? And is this adding to your credibility or taking away from it? And then just thinking through, right, is this just like you would with any company, even if you're just applying for a job, right? Do the company values align with your own? And, are these products unique, or is it something you can just get off Amazon? Are they at a price point you're comfortable with? That one was actually a really big selling point for me. It was the products were at a price point I was comfortable selling to people, and I really felt like it was a good price point. So anyway, I think the biggest red flags though really filter through that lens of our professional ethics and making sure we still feel confident, because wherever we go, our credentials come with us, and so that is a factor.
Yeah. And I think that's helpful, and probably helpful too for any dietitians that are wary of direct sales, that yes, it absolutely can fit. It's just, got to look at the whole picture. And I loved how you mentioned there's like, so many opportunities. Actually, right now I am in a Tupperware party on Facebook. So lots of things. And even the person who's running it, she sells Usborne books. They're books for kiddos that like I buy all the time, and it's direct sales. So, and actually, as you were talking too, it made me think there is a Facebook group called Dietitians and Nutritionists and Direct Sales. So for anyone who is interested in direct sales, check out that Facebook group. It's pretty helpful, and you'll also get some more ideas of all the groups that Katie listed, and probably more, because gosh, there's so many opportunities. So awesome. So
yes.
Yeah. So what are some of the other benefits of getting into direct sales and why you think this is a great side hustle opportunity for dietitians.
Yeah. So first of all, I think direct sales can be a great option for dietitians because of the overlap in the skill sets that are needed. So for instance, we think dietitians tend to be naturally good at taking maybe a broad knowledge base and customizing it to the individual. We're really good at getting buy-in from our client or potential customer and motivating people. In all of those interpersonal skills that are key in sales, right? Building relationships, creating rapport, like that's nutrition 101, really,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of overlap in skills that might not be obvious for many people at first glance. But I think it can also help build skills that help dietitians no matter where they are in practice. So maybe things that you didn't get through your internship, things like customer service, learning resilience and persistence. I'm not exactly a millennial, but I'm pretty close. And I feel like that's something that the millennial generation gets a little bit of slack for. So being a little more persistent and resilient about things, having a strong work ethic, learning discipline, time management, even an organization, depending on, your background, that might not be something that you've really gained, presentation and speaking skills, including like live videos on social media. That's actually something that I've been practicing a lot. So I have a private face group for my customers, and like maybe my mom watches most of the time, right? So it's not like a huge audience, but it has gotten me much more comfortable in front of the camera and going live. Whereas on my professional Instagram, I feel like it's more of a risk. And so it's been really fun to kind of play around with it there. So anyway, that is one option. And then also just the idea of coaching. So whether you're coaching other team members or customers, all that plays into it. Then another thing is it helps you work throughout all the stages of life and ages of your children. We are in a female-dominated profession, and I think one of the things I hear so often from dietitians is they love the flexibility, the variety within the profession. A lot of women talk about job sharing and how they got through maternity leave, all of that. And a side hustle like direct sales can really carry you through all of that. I mean, gosh, you could even do a little bit on your maternity leave or, something like that in between jobs, right? It's just kind of a thread that can keep running through, and it can expand and contract with however much time you have for it, which I think is really great. And then finally, I think it's a way to kind of dip your toe into managing a business. So if you're considering running a private practice or starting a business in some way, it can be really overwhelming making that jump from dietitian to business owner. And something like direct sales gives you the opportunity to really own the full spectrum of marketing, sales, accounting, et cetera, but you still have that full support of the company and a lot of training that comes with it.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's going to be really helpful for listeners to kind of hear like, oh, there's so much benefit that I can get, especially for people who are like, I want to start a side hustle. I just don't know what I want to do yet. So, this could be a great one to start. So, as we wrap up, I always like to ask action items so that way our listeners can kind of implement what they learned. So what action items would you recommend for dietitians who want to get started with direct sales?
So the first thing I would say is be open, right? Don't write it off right away. The fact that you're still listening at this point in the podcast means you haven't completely written it off, right? But don't write it off. So think critically, like, could this be a good opportunity for you? And then research the products that are out there. Think about what might be a good fit. Are you more of a food person or a supplement person, or like, hey, I just want to sell like cool athletic wear because I'm a sports dietitian, or not. But there's a lot of options. So figure out what's best. And then I would talk to someone who actually works for the company. I know there are so many dietitians in direct sales, and so you can probably find someone, again, to help you look through that lens of professional credibility and how this works, balancing it as a side gig, all of that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Where can people find you online?
Ooh, thanks for asking. So people can find me online at my website, which is katiegoldberg.com, or you can find me on Instagram, my favorite social media place to hang out, at the.pregnancy.dietitian.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening today. I hope that you learned something new and just feel really inspired to go out and learn more about direct sales.